It was painful to hear. He is going almost to death, but then returning by Krishna's grace and rejoining them in San Francisco, yet being unable to stay with them as before, and now his plans of going to India, maybe forever, these activities intensified their concern and love for him. Devotees worried, speculating on whether they could carry on without Swamiji. One devotee suggested that perhaps one of the Swamiji's godbrothers should come to America and fill in for Swamiji, and if the worst happened, take over the leadership of the International Society of Krishna Consciousness. When the suggestion reached Prabhupada, he considered it without immediately replying. Mukunda says, I was sitting alone with Swamiji in his room, and he was very grave and silent. His eyes were closed, then suddenly tears began flowing from his eyes, and he said in his choked voice, my spiritual master was no ordinary spiritual master. Then he paused for some time and, wiping the tears from his cheeks, he said in an even more choked voice, he saved me. At that point, I began to understand the meaning of the spiritual master and dropped all considerations of ever replacing Swamiji. After 2 days, Prabhupada said he would not call any of his godbrother to come and take care of his disciples. He said, if this person speaks just one word different from what I'm speaking, there will be great confusion among you. Actually, he said the idea was an insult to the spiritual master. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So, reading from Srimad Bhagavatam. So, this is Canto number 5, Chapter 1, verse number 5. Sri Sukha Uvacha Bādamuktam Bhagavata Uttam Slokasya Srimat Charanaravindam Makarandarasa Avishita Chetaso Bhagavata Paramhamsadayita Katam Kinchid Antaraya Vihatam Swam Sivatamam Padavim Na Prayena Hinvatanti. So if anyone wants to try, it is a little bit harder verse. If anyone wants to give it a try.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, I am trying.
Yes, Prabhu.
Sri Shuka Uvacha Bādamuktam Bhagavata Uttam Slokasya Srimad Charanara Binda Makarandarasa Abheshita Chetasho Bhagavat Paramhansha Dvaita Katham Kinchid Antaray Vihatam Sham Shivatamam Padavim Na Prayena Hinnanti. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Sri Shuka Uvacha Badham Uktam Bhagavata Uttama Slokasya Srimad Charunaravinda Makaranda Rasa Abeshita Chetasha Bhagavata Paramhamsa Doyita Katham Kinchid Antaraya Vihatam Swam Shivatamam Padamimna Prayena Hinvanti. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam. I am also trying.
Yes, Mataji, please, Hare Krishna.
Shuka Uvacha Badham Uktam Bhagavata Uttama Slokasya Srimad Charanaravinda Makaranda Rasa Abeshita Chetasya Bhagavata Paramahansa Dvaita Katham Kinchit Antaraya Vihatam swan sivatamam padavim na prayena hinavanti. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. May I try, please?
Yes, please, Mataji.
Shri Sukhuvacha Badham Uttam Bhagavat Uttam Shlokaya Srimaccharanaravind Makrand Rasa Avishita Chetaso Bhagavat Paramhamsa Daitya Katham Kinchin Antaraya Vihatam Swam Shiva Tamam Padavam Na Prayena Hinvati. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Hare Krishna Mataji. Thank you.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, I'll also try.
Yes, please, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Shri Sukhavacha Bhadam Uktam Bhagavata Uttam Slokasya Srimad Charanavinda Makarandarasa Avisita Chiteso Bhagavata Paramahamsadaitya Katham Kinchit Antaraya Vihitam Swam Sivatam Padavimna Payana Hinvati. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Okay, so anyone else? So we can look at, someone can read the synonyms.
Yes, Prabhu, I can read.
Yes, Mataji.
Sri Sukha Uvacha, Sri Sukdev Goswami said, Badham, correct. Uktam, what you have said. Bhagavataha, of the personality of Godhead. Uttama Slokasya, who is praised with excellent verses. Srimad Charanara Binda, of the feet, which are just like the most beautiful fragrant lotus flowers. Makarananda, Makaranda, honey. Rasa, in the nectar. Aveshita, abjured. Chetasha, whose hearts. Bhagavata, to the devotees. Paramahamsa, liberated persons. Daita, pleasing. Katham, glorification. Kinchit, sometimes. Antaraya, by impediments. Vihatam, checked. Swam, own. Satamam, most exalted. Padvim, position. Na, do not. Prayena, almost always. Hinvanti, give up. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. And sorry. So let's look at the translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada, Aaj ki jai. So someone can read the translation.
May I, Prabhuji, please?
Yes, please, Mataji.
Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Shri Sukdev Goswami said, what you have said is correct. The glories of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is praised in elegant, transcendental basis by such exalted personalities as Brahma, are very pleasing to great devotees and liberated persons. One who is attached to the nectarian honey of the lotus feet, and whose mind is only absorbed in his glories, may sometimes be checked by some impediment, but he still never gives up the exalted position he has acquired. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. And someone can read the purport as well, or you can take turns because it's a long purport. So just someone can start and then maybe one paragraph or something like that. So each devotee can.
Hare Krishna Prabhu Dandavat Pranam, I'll try.
Yes, Mata, you can start with the first paragraph.
Sri Sukdev Goswami accepted both of the king proposition that a person who is advanced in Krishna consciousness cannot embrace materialistic life again, and that one who has embraced materialistic life cannot take up Krishna consciousness at any stage of his existence. Although accepting both these statements, Sukadeva Goswami qualified them by saying that a person who has once absorbed his mind in the glories of the Supreme Personality of Godhead many times be influenced by impediments, but he still does not give up his exalted devotional position. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you, Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, I am reading the second and then
Yes,
next
yes,
part.
Prabhuji. Yes.
According to Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, there are two kinds of impediments to devotional service. The first is an offense at the lotus feet of Vaishnava. This is called Vaishnava Aparad. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu warned his devotees not to commit Vaishnava Aparad, which he described as the mad elephant offense. When a mad elephant enters a beautiful garden, it destroys everything, leaving a barren field. Similarly, the power of Vaishnava Aparad is so great that even an advanced devotee becomes almost devoid of his spiritual assets if he commits it. Since Krishna consciousness is eternal, it cannot be destroyed altogether, but advancements may be checked for the time being. This Vaishnava Aparad is one kind of impediment to devotional service. Sometimes, however, the Supreme Personality of Godhead and his devotees desires to impede one's devotional service. For example, Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksha were formerly Joy and Vijay, the gatekeepers in Vaikuntha, but by the desire of the Lord, they became his enemies for 3 lives. Thus, the desire of the Lord is another kind of impediment. But in both cases, the pure devotee, once advanced in Krishna consciousness, cannot be lost. Following the orders of his superiors, Shambhuva and Lord Brahma, Priyabrata accepted family life, but this did not mean he lost his position in a devotional service. Krishna consciousness is perfect and eternal, and therefore it cannot be lost under any circumstances. Because the material world is full of obstructions to advancement in Krishna consciousness, there may appear to be many impediments. Yet Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, declares in Bhagavad Gita 9:31, Kaunteo pratijanihi nomi bhakta pranashrati. Once one has taken shelter at the lotus feet of the Lord, he cannot be lost. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
In this verse, the word Shivotamam is very significant. Shivotamam means the most auspicious. The devotional path is so auspicious that a devotee cannot be lost under any circumstances. This is described in the Srimad Bhagavad Gita by the Lord Himself. Partho noiveho na mutra vinashastasya vidyate. My dear Arjuna, for a devotee there is no question of being lost, either in this life or in the next. Bhagavad Gita 6.40, in Bhagavad Gita 6.43, the Lord clearly explains how this is so. Tatrotam bodhi samyagam lavate purvadehikam yato te cha tato bhuyaha samsiddhau karunandana. By the order of the Lord, a perfect devotee sometimes comes to his material world like an ordinary human being. Because of his previous practice, such a perfect devotee naturally becomes attached to devotional service, apparently without cause. Despite all the kinds of impediments due to surrounding circumstances, he automatically perseveres in devotional service and gradually advances until he once again becomes perfect. Bilomangal Thakur had been an advanced devotee in his previous life, but in his next life he became greatly fallen and was attached to a prostitute. Suddenly, however, his entire behavior was changed by the words of the very prostitute who had so much attracted him, and he became a great devotee. In the lives of exalted devotees, there are many such instances proving that once one has taken to the shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord, he cannot be lost. Kunteo pratijani hi now me bhakta pranashati. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
The fact is, however, that some becomes a devotee when he is completely freed from all reactions to sinful life, as Krishna states in Bhagavad Gita 7.28. Isham tu antagatam papam gananam punya karmanam te danda moho nirmukta bhajate mam dridapratah. Persons who have acted piously in previous lives and in this life, whose sinful actions are completely eradicated and who are freed from the duality of illusion, engage themselves in my service with determination. On the other hand, as Prahlad Maharaj said, Motirna Krishne Parato Shatova Mitho Vipodeto Gahavartanam. A person who is Grihavartanam, a person who is too attached to materialistic family life, home, family, wife, children, and so on, cannot develop Krishna consciousness. These apparent contradictions are resolved in the life of a devotee by the grace of the Supreme Lord, and therefore a devotee is never bereft of his position on the path of liberation, which is described in this verse as Sivatamam Padavim. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashtha Bhutala Srimate Radha Govinda Goswami Niti Namine Namaste Prabhupada Devam Gauravani Pachari Nirvishesha Nivadi Grama Jani Nishtarane Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashtha Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pachari Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschat Deshatarini Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna. Thank you all the devotees for joining us this morning. So this is the fifth canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. We know at the end of the fourth canto, we know that Naradji was instructing whom? Who was Naradji instructing?
Priyabrata also from Maharaj.
Yeah. So Naradji was instructing the Prachetas at the end of the last canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, canto number 4. And one other thing we saw at the end of the fourth canto was Vidur. So Vidur has been hearing the katha from Maitreya Muni. Vidur had the whole of the third canto almost from who?
Maitreya Muni.
Maitreya Muni. Yeah. So Vidur has been hearing from Maitreya Muni. Maitreya Muni has been speaking the katha, and after the end of the fourth canto, Vidur actually leaves. We know that the Narad Muni, when he's completed instructing, when he finished instructing the Prachetas actually went to they attained perfection and they went to the spiritual world, the Prachetas. And Vidura, where does he go?
Vidura went
Hastinapur?
back to
Hmm?
Hastinapur.
Yes, he goes back to Hastinapur. Why does he have to go back to Hastinapur after hearing the katha? Because after katha, after you have heard the katha, after you have become purified, I mean, he left Hastinapur. He left Hastinapur because he was not interested in politics, and we know what actually happened in Hastinapur. So he left Hastinapur, and then now he's going back to Hastinapur. Why does he have to do that?
To instruct Dhritarashtra?
Yes, to deliver Dhritarashtra, to instruct him and deliver him. So we know that understanding is important, understanding the spiritual instructions. It's important to know Bhagavad Gita. It's important to know Srimad Bhagavatam. By learning and understanding Bhagavad Gita and practicing Bhagavad Gita, one can easily get delivered. Even Prabhupada could have easily stayed in Vrindavan, and he could easily have gone back to the spiritual world. But Prabhupada decided to deliver the other living
Entire world.
entities. He wanted to give what he has got to others as well. And because it's a very, very auspicious path, as mentioned in this verse, it's Shiva Tamam. It's most auspicious path, and everyone can benefit from it. So Vidur wanted to go, or Vidur went to Hastinapur just to deliver Dhritarashtra. Dhritarashtra, of course, was also in the Grihastha ashram. He was a householder, and he was very, very attached, of course. He was very, very attached to his family life. He was very, very attached to his sons. He was very, very attached to his kingdom. So he was a very, very attached person. But we know that after the Mahabharat battle, Mahabharat Yudh, a lot of things changed. And so Vidur goes back to instruct Dhritarashtra. And then we see that the Prachetas who were very, very fortunate, and that Prachetas, the Uttanpad Katha, the dynasty of Uttanpad, actually finishes with Prachetas. The Katha actually finishes there. And now the next Katha starts, and that is about
Priyabrata.
the dynasty of the other son of Manu, whose name is Priyavrata. We know that Manu Maharaj, Swayambhu Manu, had 2 sons and 3 daughters. The 3 daughters were Akuti,
Prasuti,
Prasuti.
Prasuti, and
And Devahuti.
Devahuti. So 3 daughters. Right? So Akuti, Devahuti, and Prasuti. And also the 2 sons are Uttanpad and
Priyavrat.
Priyavrat. So now the Priyavrat Katha was left. So now we know that Priyavrat was, he had detached himself from the kingdom. Now, in this 5th canto, we have questions of Parikshit. Parikshit is asking some questions to Sukadeva Goswami. And those questions are very, very nice. What are those questions? One is, so if you look at the verses, so he's interested in knowing, Parikshit Maharaj is interested in knowing how Priyavrat actually accepted household life. Why did he become a Grihastha? Because he was a devotee. He had already become a devotee. Who had instructed him?
Narad Muni.
Narad Muni. By Naradji's instructions, he had become a devotee, a full, pure devotee. Why did he have to come to, why did he have to accept this Grihastha Jivan? And Mahatmas, yes, very, very nice verses are there. These are the 4 verses, the beginning of this chapter. The first one, how did he remain in household life, and which actually defeats the purpose of human life, he says. How did he remain? And then, because he was already a self-realized devotee, And then he says that um, how can they possibly be absorbed in family affairs and devotees? How can the devotees be absorbed in family affairs? And then he's saying that the Mahatmas who have taken shelter of the Lord, we know about what Lord Krishna says about Mahatmas. Mahatmanastu mam partha
Doibim Prokritim Asrit.
daivim prakritim ashrita
Bhavanti Ananna Manasho.
bhajati ananya manaso gyatva bhutadimavyam. And what are the activities of the Mahatmas? Satatam kirtayanto mam yatantascha drirvata namasyantascha mam bhaktya nitya yukta
Upashate.
upasate. Those are the, so they're under the control of the Devi Prakriti or the divine energy of the Lord, and what they do is mentioned after that. So the Mahatmas. So we were discussing in the Bhagavad Gita class that Lord Krishna, the 6 chapters, the middle 6 chapters are talking about devotional service, like middle 6 chapters of the Bhagavad Gita. And the two middle verses of the out of the 700, how many verses are there in the Bhagavad Gita?
700.
700. So which are the two middle verses? Because if you have an even number, you have 2 verses in the middle. Like if you have 10, then 5 and 6 will be the middle 2 verses. But here we have how many verses? 700 verses. Which are the 2 middle verses? 350 and 350th verse and the
51 verse.
351st verse. Those are the 2 middle verses of the Bhagavad Gita. And in those 2 middle verses, which verses do we have? Which 2 verses? Mahatmanastu mam partha devim prakritim ashrita. That verse and satatam kirtayantam mam. That's how important those 2 verses are in the middle of the Bhagavad Gita. So Mahatmas, the great devotees who have taken shelter. So this Mahatma is used here in this verse. Also Bhagavad Gita also has Mahatma used a couple of times. So Mahatma Sudurlabha also. So he says Mahatam, great devotees, and Prabhupada writes elevated Mahatmas. So these people, those who have taken shelter of the Lord, they are always satisfied, completely satisfied, fully satiated by the shade of the lotus feet. And how can their consciousness be on the family members? How can they accept Grasthasaram? How can their consciousness be on the family members? And then it says that this is my doubt. This is I actually doubt. How is it possible? So generally, he talks about generally devotees, and then he talks about Priyavrat Maharaj. How can he be attached to wife, family, children, home? And he said, I would like to know this. So, and how is it possible for a person like Priyavrat to achieve the topmost perfection in Krishna consciousness? So these were the questions, and then we know that Sukdev Goswami, who was very, very qualified, and he's answering the questions of Parikshit Maharaj, not Parikshit Maharaj, yeah, Parikshit Maharaj. So here, Sri Sukha Vacha. So he's saying that whatever you are saying is What does he
Correct.
say?
Correct.
Correct. Whatever you are saying is correct. Badam Uktam. Whatever you are saying, Sri Sukha Vacha means Sukadeva is Goswami is speaking. So it is not no more Maitreya. Of course, whatever happened, uh, whatever conversation took place um, between Parikshit Maharaj and Sukadeva Goswami, that's Srimad Bhagavatam. But we know that Sukadeva Goswami will also speak about different conversations, just like conversation between Maitreya Rishi and Vidura, and also others. So here, Sukadeva Goswami is directly speaking that, yes, whatever you are saying is correct. That's number one, first thing that he says. And he says, Bhagavata Uttam Slokasya Srimad Charanara Vinda Makaranda Rasa Aveshita Chedaso. So, whatever you are saying is correct, but Bhagavata Uttam Slokasya Srimad Uttam Slokasya. Bhagavata means the Bhagwan, the Supreme Lord. Uttam Slokasya means one who is
One who is praised by Uttam Sloka or the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Prabhu.
the Supreme Lord, who is glorified by very, very nice slokas, glorified by great verses. Because we know that Lord is Lord has got great qualities. So the great qualities can be described in nice verses. The Lord has got a beautiful form. The beautiful form can be described by very nice verses. And his pastimes are very nice, and he can be glorified again. So everything that he does is divya, janma karma chame divyam, and all these things can be glorified. So the great sages, great devotees, Brahmaji, Prabhupada is Brahmaji here, is glorifying the Lord. We have Brahma Stuti, Brahmaji's Stuti, and so many different prayers are there of the Lord. So he is described, he is praised in using very, very beautiful verses, Uttam Slokasya, or transcendental verses. So that's a description of the Lord's greatness. And Shrimad Charanara Vind Makaranda Rasa Avishit Avesita Chetaso. So the devotees, Bhagavata Paramhamsa, Bhagavata here, referring to the devotees of the Lord. Paramhamsa means those people who have nothing to do with this material world. Paramhamsa. So Charanaravinda, Srimad Charanaravinda Makaranda. Charanaravinda means Charan Aravinda.
Lotus feet.
Charan means the lotus feet. Yeah, lotus. Charan means feet. Aravinda means lotus. Charanaravind. We have different names for lotus. So here, Aravinda is one of them. So Charanaravinda, Srimad Charanaravinda Makaranda Rasa. Rasa means the nectar, Prabhupada describes here, or the juice. Makaranda Rasa, the nectarian juice. The nectarian honey. Makaranda Rasa of those lotus flowers is the honey, or the uh, nectar. So Makaranda Rasa. So Avisha Chetaso Bhagavata Avesita means they're absorbed those or attached to, so devotees Bhagavata or Paramhansa who actually accept the essence, and Daita Katham Kinchit. Daita Katham is to those whose minds are always absorbed in hearing his, or absorbed in thinking about his glories, the katha. Daita katham. Kinchit antaraya vihatam. For some reason, sometimes, if they attain antaraya, so if there has been some impediments and that takes them away from, because of that they are not fully Krishna conscious. Padavim na prayana hinvanti. What that says is that they will not give up that exalted position. So there are a couple of things mentioned in this verse. One is, what are the things which are mentioned, devotees? What is Sukadeva Goswami saying in this verse? What are some of the things? Yes? Can you all hear me?
Yes, Prabhu, we can hear you.
Okay. So what are some of the things that Sukadeva Goswami is saying in this verse?
Supreme Personality of Godhead is praised with nice verse, transcendental verse.
Yes, very nice. So one is he is very glorious, like he is glorified, or is praised in so many nice verses by the great uh, devotees.
Like
Yes,
Brahma.
like Brahma. And of course, he's the one who has to be praised. He's the one who is who needs to be glorified. So, Lord is always glorified. This number one. And number two, anything?
And his lotus feet is beautifully fragrant like lotus flowers.
Yeah, has got very beautiful lotus feet. He's got lotus feet, and is described as lotus feet. And just like the honeybee is attracted to what?
With honey.
Honey on the
Yeah,
flower.
the lotus flower. They're attracted to the lotus flower, and they're always, absorbed in getting the juice, the ras, the honey out of. Uh, so here, what's mentioned about the devotees?
Who absorbed in the lotus feet.
Yeah,
They
absorbed in the lotus feet. Very nice. Just like the bees are absorbed in
honey.
the lotus flower. Yes. Anything else?
And it is telling Prabhuji that sometimes the devotees may be checked for some due to some impediments,
Yes.
and
Yes. Correct. Yeah. Continue, bro.
but he doesn't give up the position he has acquired thereby, because by devotional service, whatever position he has acquired, but he doesn't give up from that position, although it may be checked for the time being.
Yes. Very nice. Time being, that's why kinchit sometimes. Sometimes, because of some impediments, one may deviate from that path, or may take up another service which may not make him fully Krishna conscious, but they don't actually give up that position. Yes, and there's also one more thing, that devotees are, one more thing about katham. So one is the description of the Lord. Number two is his lotus feet is described. Number three, his devotees who are always absorbed in the nectarian uh, honey of the lotus feet of the Lord. That means they are so attached to the Lord's lotus feet that they cannot actually give up that lotus feet. And then talking about devotees, another quality of the devotee, one is they are absorbed in the lotus feet of the Lord. Number two is they are absorbed
in hearing the glories of the Lord.
in hearing the glories of the Lord. They always hear about the Lord. So such people, those who always hear about the Lord and who was always attached to the lotus feet of the Lord, for some, if there is some impediment, right? If there is some impediment, then what happens?
They never
But
give
then they never give up
the position to love
ex-
the
exalted position. They don't never give up that exalted position. And so we can see here, this is um, for the devotees. Who are the devotees here? Which devotee is specifically mentioned? Priyavrat. Priyavrat, of course, he had no interest in the kingdom. He had no interest in the family life. But who actually asked him to accept?
Swayambhumanu, then Brahma.
Brahma.
Yes,
Narad.
Brahmaji and
Narad.
Swayambhu Manu.
Swayambhu.
Brahmaji and Swayambhu Manu convinced him to take it, because now after he accepts the position, then Swayambhu Manu will leave to perform austerities. So now there's no one, so Swayambhu Manu and Brahmaji, both of them, convinced him to take up the grest life. Sometimes Lord actually does this. We can see that here it is by the devotees, but other times it can be the Lord himself. Right. Who asked actually it was, who asked the Prachetas to accept the Grasta Jivan, the house of life?
Swayambhumanu, then Brahma.
Actually, the Prachetas.
The project is told by the Lord himself. Prabhu.
Yeah, Lord himself arranged said you have to accept the Grasta life here. So Lord himself. And then later on we know that Brahma said, you get married to whom? The daughter of the trees. So yeah, so Lord himself actually, even we see there's some other examples in the scriptures as well, that Brahma actually arranges the marriage. We see in the case of Kardam Rishi, who arranged the marriage of Kardam Rishi, who said that Swayambhu Manu will come with Devahuti, you accept her as your wife, to Kardam. And Kardam Muni had asked the Lord, that please arrange a suitable wife for me.
Lord Vishnu himself arranged it.
Yeah, Lord Vishnu himself arranged it. So that's why Prabhupada actually mentions here in the purport that sometimes that impediment can be by the arrangement of the Lord, just like in the case of Jay and Vijay. For some time they were kept away from saving the Lord. And sometimes, you regress the Jivan also. Someone may accept household life and may not be fully Krishna conscious, but still, Kaunteya pratijani hi name bhakta pranashyati, Prabhupada writes, and also Prabhupada writes about Vaishnava prad is also a impediment on the path of devotional service. And it's a very dangerous one, Prabhupada writes also. It's mad elephant offense. And Prabhupada also speaks about this path, which is Sivatamam. Sivatamam means which is very, very auspicious. And there is no loss on this path. Neha Vikramana Swasti Pratyavayana Vidyate Swalpam Prasidharmasi Trayate Mahato Bhat. There is no loss. But there can be the advancement can be stopped for some time because of some offense or something else, to taking up some other seva or something like that. And Prabhupada also comments about he says that, as Lord Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna had asked, what, if one is not able to attain full perfection in devotional service, what happens? Even then, there is no loss, because Prapya punyakritam lokanushitva shashwati sama shuchiram shrimatam gehayog brashto vijayate. What happens to those people who are not able to complete? They are born
in wealthy family and devotees family.
wealthy family, devotees family, a wealthy family and pious family, so that they can continue their devotion. Or atva yogina meva kule bhauti dhimatam etadhi durlabtaram loke janmaya didrisham. Or they are born, yes,
Family of advanced devotees, Prabhu.
family of advanced devotees. So they may be born in a family of advanced devotees.
Vaishnavas or something.
Vaishnavas, the children of Vaishnavas, and they will be able to continue their devotion. So that means there's no loss. There's no loss at all. So that position they have attained already, there's no loss. And it's the most auspicious path, Shivatama. And Prabhupada also, so there is some sort of apparent contradiction here, but we need to understand. Prabhupada also quotes the verse, Matirna Krishna Parata Satoa Mito Bipadyad Griha Vritana Adanta Gobir Vishatam Tamishna Punascharvita Charvanana. That verse. So in that verse we know that Griha Vratana. What's the meaning of those people who are Griha Vrata?
Those who are attached with family.
Yeah, those people who are attached to family life. Matirna Krishna. Such people, if they, by their own effort or by the combined effort, right, or by the effort of others, they cannot actually fix their mind on Krishna. Yes, they cannot. And even when in the Rajasya Yajna, during the Rajasya Yajna, Naraji is actually speaking. Naraji is speaking, and Yudhishthira asking that, how can people like us who are Griham Mudadhi, how can we actually attain the same destination as the sannyasis? And Naraji said that two things. Vasudeva Arapanam Sakshat Upasita Mahamuni. Two things. That, what do you do? Vasudeva Arapanam Sakshat. Whatever you do, you offer it to
Vasudev, Lord Krishna.
Vasudeva. And at the same time, you should always be associating with
Devotees.
devotees. Upasita Mahamuni. Always associate with the devotees. So here, associating with the devotees and getting the guidance of the devotees is very important. And here we know that Priyavrat is accepting Grihastha life, following the order of the two great devotees, Brahmaji and Swayambhu Manu, the father. Yeah. So if one accepts Grihastha, sometimes even the spiritual masters will tell their disciples, you get married. The disciples say, no, we want to remain. The spiritual master says, no, you get married. Because sometimes it is better for them to remain as a gresta. And Prabhupada also actually mentions that it is a fort, like gresta ashram is like fort where one can practice sense control. It's a fort. It's a safe area where we can practice sense control. Yes. So, yes. What are some of the things we learned from this verse? What are some of the important lessons we have learned today?
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
I think the most important lesson that I've learned is that there is no danger in this path. That even if you do have a setback, you will always get back. There's some kind of guarantee in the process.
Very nice. Very nice. That no danger is no even little bit of impediments, but we know that Lord is always protecting his devotees as he promises in the Bhagavad Gita. And Prabhupada quotes that verse as well. Kontya pratijanihi name bhakta pranashyati. Very nice. And we can see so many examples. Prachetas were protected. Prachetas, we could see in the last moment before they left their body, Naradji actually came to instruct them. Thank you, Mataji. Anything else, devotees?
The devotees who are absorbed in the lotus feet of Krishna, they never give up, even some impediments come.
Yes, they never give up Krishna, even if some impediments come. Very nice. So the other verse, Prahlad Maharaj is speaking, Matirna Krishna, the Graha Vartanam, those people are very attached to the household life.
They
But
cannot come to Krishna consciousness.
they cannot actually fix their mind on Krishna. But here we can see that those who are, even if they are living in the Gresta ashram, Vasudeva Arpanam Sakshad, if they are still, if they have attachment to Krishna, then they're always protected. Anything else? Anything else which is important?
Lord Krishna is glorified with so many
Yeah.
verses, exalted verses.
Yes, very nice. Lord Krishna is glorified with so many nice verses, and also one more thing is one more thing is mentioned is that the devotees are always the Harikatha.
Remember
Harikatha.
him and speak him
Yes,
of the Harikatha.
yes, Mataji.
Remember him and speaks with Krishna. Speaks
Yeah,
about
the
Krishna, glorify.
glorify Krishna and be absorbed in his lotus feet. Hear
Yeah.
about him,
Yeah.
hearing about him always. Nityam Bhagavata
Devaya.
Sevaya. Hare Krishna. Any questions?
Hare Krishna Prabhu. So,
Hare Krishna, Ashaka Mataji. Yes.
so we learned that we should observe our mind in the lotus feet of Krishna always.
Yes. Always be absorbed in the lotus feet, absorbed in hearing about him, and also the attached to the lotus feet of the Lord, the nectarian honey of the lotus feet of the Lord. Correct. Thank you all the devotees. Shri Shri Radha Girdhari Bhagavan ki jai, Shri Shri Gauri Bhagavan ki jai.
Yeah.
श्री श्री सीताराम लक्ष्मण भक्त हनुमान की जय, शिल प्रभुपाद की जय, सामवेद भक्त वृंद की जय। हरे
वंशकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा
कृष्ण
सिन्धुभ्यः
पतितानां पावनेभ्यो
वैष्णवेभ्यो
वैष्णवेभ्यो
नमो नमः।
अनंत
कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय।
प्लीज प्लीज माधव प्रभु की जय, शिला प्रभुपाद की जय, गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि
हरि हरि बोल।
all glories to assembled devotees.
हरे
Hare
कृष्णा।
Krishna.
हरे कृष्ण
Thank you
हरे
so much, Prabhu.
Prabhu was a
Thank you,
nice
Prabhu. Hare
message.
Krishna.